Hey, welcome back. So, we have a lot to talk about, but I think the first and most important question, well, not question, story that I've seen go on is about Aaron Rodgers. Now, Aaron Rodgers has been actually called the most disingenuous athlete of our lifetime. Um, and I think it's clear to see that he's somebody that very, very clearly. Um, I don't know, has a lot of time on his hands. It's just super. He's one of these guys that, like, I feel like people that get into conspiracy theories are people that, they want to be smarter and they want to, like, know something that you don't know, like a flat earther. Not that Aaron Rodgers is one, but, somebody that believes in the flat earth is like, they're smug about it because it's like, I know and you don't, and you're so dumb for not knowing, and that's how Aaron Rodgers is. I think that's how it's fair to say that that's how he's been his whole career. Like, I know this thing, like, and you don't, and you're dumb, and like, that's how he comes off. That's his energy. Great football player. And there's been stories as well. Somebody that shared the QB locker with him, the QB room with him, in Green Bay, was telling a story that the first thing he heard Aaron Rodgers say was, "Hey, you believe 9/11 was done by Al Qaeda or whatever it was." Like, there's just countless stories like that, right? And so he's got either a lot of time on his hands, or he just wants to be like the smartest guy in the room, or something's happening. So, he's going, and I think the biggest one, and I think something that brain broke a lot of people, is COVID. COVID, you were isolated. A lot of people stayed inside. Some people were getting paid somewhere. There was just a lot of fallout. People were isolated. If you didn't have somebody, you were by yourself and you couldn't see your family. And it was not to comment on that, but it hurt a lot of people, right? And I think some people were able to handle it. Some people got into making sourdough bread and, cooking recipes, and others did not, And so I think Aaron Rodgers was also one of those. And it's just this giant talking point where you can, like, insert yourself, and you can, like, I have this insight that nobody else has. And to very quickly, it's just, it happened to a lot of people, it seems like, and a lot of people just had a tough time with it. But anyway, so Aaron Rodgers. A very sore subject for Aaron Rodgers is COVID and the COVID vaccine. Okay, so it all kind of started where he said he was immunized, and I think everybody took that to mean that he had gotten the vaccine, where he did not. He had not gotten the vaccine, and he did whatever it was that he did, but he wasn't. And so I think that was a turning point where the media kind of went like, everybody. To be fair, everybody just went, da, 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 what is he talking about? What is he saying? Why is he saying this? It lies, yada, yada, yada. And so that's kind of the backstory, right? That's kind of the backstory of what is happening with Aaron Rodgers, up until this point. He's been on Pat McAfee. I've actually been fairly critical on Twitter, that he just kind of says these baseless things. And Pat McAfee with the tank top on, he's like, yeah. You want to debate Dr. Fauci? Yeah. Cool. He just says nothing, or he just says like all these things, and Pat McAfee just lets it. Where if it's like a sports take, it doesn't really hurt anybody, right? If you're saying like, I'm the greatest quarterback that ever existed, and I dare anybody to prove otherwise. Okay, that's one thing. He's saying like salacious, outright false things, and talking about how he sent all these documents to the NFL, and it's just like he gets nothing, and that's not really the show to do it, to be fair. but the fact that they do it that he does it there, and just can say whatever he wants. He can say whatever he wants, and so there was, again, he said he was immunized, and everybody took that to mean he was vaccinated, and he wasn't. And so Jimmy Kimmel had jokes about it. And basically, let me see. Let's watch it, because I don't want to, I just want to give full context and so that you see it. So let me pull it up real quick. Okay, so we'll watch some of it, and then obviously Aaron gets very upset. But let's watch. Okay, now.
Including Green Bay whackpacker Aaron Rodgers, who offered this hot take on the Pat McAfee show.
I believe that this has been going on for a long time. Interesting timing on everything. There's a lot of other things going on in the world. Did you hear about the Epstein client list about to be released too?
What's that? What are you talking about?
Again, it's not that it's necessarily a bad thing. I think that those names should be revealed, right? We all kind of do. We're all sick of it. Show us who he was working with, etc., etc. Like that's not a question, I don't think. But let's just watch.
There's some files that have some names on it that might be getting released pretty soon.
Oh. Might be time to revisit that concussion protocol, Aaron.
So he made that joke, and he made the joke about the vaccine and how he said that he was immunized the whole bit. And Jimmy Kimmel was like, "Hey, we should have seen that coming. Somebody with that hair looks like a crystal mommy, basically, right?" So David Bakhtiari actually starts it. This is where it's like an inside joke type of thing, right? He starts it. He said, "Tell me you're on the Jeffrey Epstein client list without telling me you're on the Jeffrey Epstein client list." That seems like a baseless way to say that Jimmy Kimmel's as a pedophile, basically, right? Like that's what's being implied here. David Bakhtiari is implying that because Jimmy Kimmel made a joke about Aaron Rodgers being a conspiracy theorist, that he's a pedophile. Okay? Now, don't get lost in the weeds about that, because that is absolutely what he's saying. And he's claiming that baselessly, right? He doesn't know anything. He has no information about that. But he's saying it.
Bring up 57 and 56.
And so we get to this point. So now that's been said. Now all of that's been said, and they are releasing the Jeffrey Epstein. I don't think it was client list. I think it was like associate list, or like people that may have been mentioned within documents. And like it wasn't even his flight logs. I don't think. Again, that's not my area. I'll leave it to others to cover that, but there has been some sort of release of information.
This has something to do with the Epstein list that came out.
Feels like.
That's supposed to be coming out soon.
Look, this guy's been waiting in his wine cellar.
Yeah.
I've been waiting in my wine cellar.
A lot of people, including Jimmy Kimmel, are really hoping that doesn't.
And there it is. Okay, so now he makes that joke, right? He makes the joke of Jimmy Kimmel is not going to want the release of the list because his name is on it. Like, he's calling Jimmy Kimmel a pedophile baselessly, right? And again, I understand, and I showed you the full context just so that you have it as well, and you can kind of make up your own mind, if you will. Because when I first saw it, I was like, when I first saw like the text, I was like, oh, Aaron Rodgers, what a fucking prick. Like that's crazy. Why would he say that? So when I saw the clip, he's very clearly kidding, right? Like that's not in question. That's not a debate I don't think that you can make, right? Like, I think very clearly Aaron Rodgers is kidding. He's kidding based off of what David Bakhtiari said. And, it's the joke, and he's just kind of throwing the joke there, right? But understand that the joke is calling Jimmy Kimmel a pedophile. Now, I've always talked about it, and I feel like everybody should know. There's different ways to be rich, I think is the best way to say it. And when your quarterbacks are the CEOs of teams, right? They speak for the team. They're the face of the team. They get paid like they are. And teams are worth billions of dollars. Okay? You don't want the CEO coming out and calling people pedophiles. Like, that's just very, like, I wouldn't even want to do that. And I have nothing. Like, I don't, like, I'm hoping people watch, right? But CEOs of companies saying it's different. It just absolutely is different. There's no doubt about it. And so for a CEO of a billion-dollar company to be accusing people baselessly of pedophilia seems insane, right? Like, that's when you break it down. I think that's why people are like, holy shit, like, what's happening right now? And so there's that aspect of it. There's the aspect that he's on the Pat McAfee show, and I don't know who the other guy is, if I'm being honest, but it's Pat McAfee show, and he's just saying these things, and nobody does anything. Obviously, they understand that it's a joke, but yikes. So then, actually, Jimmy Kimmel does come out with a response. Yeah, I'm going to pull it up for you as well. So he does come up with a response. Jimmy Kimmel says, "Dear asshole, for the record, I've not met, flown with, visited, or had any contact whatsoever with Jeffrey, nor will you find my name on any list other than the clearly phony nonsense that soft-brained wackos like yourself can't seem to distinguish from reality. Your reckless words put my family in danger." Again, that's other shit that people don't consider. That's like, you don't just call people, I know that people are just, like, celebrities especially, are just these almost like just entities, right? They're things, but they're people. And the kinds of people that you rile up with that information, or calling people that information, I think is absolutely a danger. So your reckless words put his family in danger. Keep it up and we'll debate the facts further in court, at Aaron Rodgers. So again, they're both, so Pat McAfee now being on ESPN, which is owned by Disney, and Jimmy Kimmel being the late night show host, which is owned by Disney as well. So it's Disney on Disney crime. And I think that there was one time now, or this has been one time, where Pat McAfee had to come out and gave, honestly, probably like the weakest, I mean, I would think explanation you've ever seen. And it's just, it's crazy. It's crazy because it's like, you just have these people just claiming these things, and I can't get over it. And Aaron Rodgers continues to show that he is, let's be honest, just a scumbag. Like, he's a scumbag. And he did it as well with his Achilles thing. And I'll give credit to Nick Wright. I think Nick Wright, as he was saying it, I was like, damn, that is so true. You're just kind of listing everything out. And so let's watch it real quick on this. And this is in context purely of his Achilles. His Achilles also, he ruptured his Achilles, and then he was playing like he was going to come play this season. And there was another story where he cost a roster spot to somebody who got cut, with the wife and kids. And it's like, you're costing people's jobs, pretending like you're going to play when you're very clearly not. And it's just like the retirement thing. It was just a whole fucking mess, right?
Thinks that he's the relative on Thanksgiving that nobody wants to, get caught in a corner with because this guy tells you the hard truths. Oh, yeah. When in reality, it's because you've told me to read 48 Laws of Power and about the Illuminati every Thanksgiving for a decade, and I'm tired of it. And
yeah, and it's always those people again that are just like, nobody wants to talk to me because no, you're just fucking annoying and you don't say shit.
Oh, by the way, right, exactly. Let me be fair. I'm going to do exactly what Aaron said, because Aaron said before you comment on him, you should have to disclose your vaccination status. So double vaxxed, Pfizer, not boosted. Now, does that impact my opinion on Aaron Rodgers? No. You know why? Kirk Cousins not vaxxed. Nobody says a mumbling word about it.
And that, again, it's those exact type of things. I'm going to pause very quickly. It's those exact type of things that make you think like, that make you realize, like, yeah, that's true. Like, it's just him fucking whining and complaining, and it's all these people that it's like, I've been canceled and I can't say anything, as they say it on, the Joe Rogan podcast, or they say it on Fox News that gets like the highest cable news ratings, ever. Or it's all these people that are on fucking television saying, I'm not allowed to speak. You are. You're right there. You are allowed to speak. And again, he's one of those where it's just like, everyone hates me because I tell the truth, or everyone hates me because I'm not vaxxed. No, it's because you're a fucking asshole. It's because you're a liar. It's because you say that you're one way and you're not. Like, it's just, you're a dick. Look in the mirror. Look in the mirror. And speak truthfully for once, and try not to be a smug asshole that thinks he knows more than everybody in the room. That's why we fucking hate you. Like, that's why people hate you, right? It's not because you're telling the truth. It's not because you're not vaxxed. That's not why. So again, I think that's, as soon as I saw that, I was like, that is a fucking beautiful point. Like, that's true. There's other people that are not vaccinated. There's other people that have different politics than you. It's not those people that you have problems with. It's the ones that are in your fucking face about it. It's the ones that won't fucking let it go, that make it their entire personalities. Like, just stop. Be a person.
Take Dayquil. My guy gets sick every year. He's gonna win the MVP. The commentary is not about your vaccination status. It's about you being the most disingenuous athlete of my lifetime.
And I think that's being very kind, because he's on like network television. He's on Fox. He's just a fucking douche. Like, let's keep it 100. He's a douche. He's the biggest fucking douche.
You were disingenuous about the vaccine. That was annoying. Not the status,
yes.
The way you did it. You were...
Again, 100%. That it wasn't like you very intentionally and heavily implied that you got the vaccine without saying it. Others have just said no. And people get mad at him for a little bit and then you move on. Whatever. He made it his whole fucking personality.
You were disingenuous about your retirement status. 90% retired. You were disingenuous about coming out of the dark room. I'm going to play for the Packers. That was my only goal. You were disingenuous about how well Verizon works in Southern California.
That, I'm not going to lie, I have no idea what the fuck he's talking
You
about.
were then disingenuous about whether or not you wanted Randall Cobb, Alan Lazard, Tim Boyle on your team, or if Joe Douglas is just quite simply the worst talent evaluator in NFL history. You were disingenuous about why Nat Hackett's the offensive coordinator.
Right.
You're now disingenuous about your own comeback, which you were disingenuous about the entire time. So this is not about anyone's private medical decisions. It's about the biggest look at me Louie saying to his best buddy McAfee, why is everyone looking at me? It's so weird.
Yeah. Again, it's 1,000% that.
Irritating.
Right.
You know?
1,000% that. I mean, it's, again, as soon as I saw it, I was like, fuck. Like, yes, that is it to an absolute T, is that, again, it's just those guys that that talk about how, you know, they can't speak as they're at a fucking press conference, that, you know, everybody's this, and just the commentary isn't about his decisions, and he certainly has, you know, plenty of decisions and opinions. It's just, that's how it is, man. Especially for like celebrities and big time athletes and musicians and this and that. And you know, I mean, just live your life. Just, you know, just live your life. And so that's what I saw. That's what we saw. That's what we saw with the Aaron Rodgers situation. Will Jimmy Kimmel actually sue Aaron Rodgers? Who knows? I think, again, Pat McAfee had already had some legal things with Brett Favre, so he kind of knows how to cover his base, I'm sure. But this is a person, Pat McAfee is paying, I believe it's per appearance, Aaron Rodgers to come on his show, just stir a bunch of shit, and then, you know, whatever, you know, he gets views, he gets clicks, he gets whatever. So there's always that aspect of it as well. You know, what's ESPN gonna do? I think they, from what I've seen, they haven't commented yet, but I'm sure the legal department is busy as hell right now, and we'll see what Jimmy Kimmel wants to do. You know, because if he can show some adverse like effects, again, you baselessly implying that somebody's a pedophile, seems like a reckless thing to do, and especially king of the pedos, you know, Jeffrey Epstein. Doesn't seem smart, but you know, there's other things that you can joke about. But those are some of the thoughts. Those are some of the questions. Those are some of the backstory. It's gone a little bit long. Sorry, I'm looking at the time and it's like, well, it's a little long. But I just wanted to try to give as full of context as I could. You know, without having to dive into every single thing. That's kind of the context there. But let me know what you think. Because I've also seen people say, oh, Jimmy Kimmel joking about other people, but he can't take a joke. And it's like, that'd be one thing if Aaron Rodgers joked, but it's the type of joke that he made, right? But anyway, so let me know what you think. I mean, do you think Aaron Rodgers is, you know, should he apologize, or should he, you know, stop appearing, or should he, you know, just be quiet, honestly? Or should Jimmy Kimmel, you know, get some thicker skin, or, you know, what should he do? I mean, what do the Jets do? You know, there's so many angles. It's crazy. But yeah, let me know what you think about just the whole situation. And we'll see what happens with Jimmy Kimmel.